Hello Team FD and welcome back to Winners and Losers, where normally we break down the latest and greatest Premier League action, but today we're going to span numerous competitions in search for our winners. And our winners come under the general umbrella this episode of young strikers. We wanted to put some shine on some prodigious young talents who are absolutely killing it at current. Now let's start with an 18-year-old who seems to get better, Dukes, every time I watch him. With every passing match week, it would seem he takes another stride, and that is Brighton forward Evan Ferguson. Now, what did he do over the weekend and the rest of the season that impressed us so much here?
Yeah, I think he was brilliant at the weekend. I think he's been brilliant this season. One of the finds of the season, it feels like. Hadn't heard of him before this season. Respect if you had, if you've been paying attention to Brighton's young academy. We actually put out and explained on Eurofootball Daily on why Ireland is producing so much talent on Sunday. So please go check that out as well. This had loads of information about the likes of Ferguson, the likes of Bazunu at Southampton as well, of course. But yeah, this weekend, it was all about his performance in Brighton's 5-0 thrashing of League Two side Grimsby. Don't want to be too harsh on Grimsby. It's an amazing story that they got there, but they conceded a goal within 10 minutes, and it was always quite difficult from then. I thought they were slightly unfortunate in that Robert Sanchez felt like he handled the ball outside the area, and they just
bizarre.
The commentators was just like, "Oh, that was on the line," and I was like, "It didn't look like it was on the line." Anyway, so the quality of opposition, not the best. You know, they were a little bit unfortunate in that situation, but the quality of finishing from Ferguson was really pretty special. One with his left, one with his right. And I'm loath to say it, a little bit Haaland-esque, particularly with that second one, running onto and finishing low into the bottom left-hand corner as well. And yes, his finishing is really nice, and he's got all sorts of variety in his game. He scored 4 with his right, he scored 2 with his left, he's got 1 with his head this campaign, and given the size of him, I think he'll be scoring plenty more headers to come. He's now got 10 goal contributions in just 17 appearances across all competitions. Only 10 of those 17 appearances have been starts. I think he got his first few under Graham Potter, his first few minutes, but it's really been under Roberto De Zerbi with this amazing feel-good story that he's really started to hit his straps as well. It means he's going at a goal and assist every 60 minutes. That is quite exceptional. It's probably unsustainable, but what a start to life in English football for an 18-year-old. He just doesn't look 18. He doesn't play like an 18-year-old. And Roberto De Zerbi called him a special player and a special guy before suggesting that he's got a few things to work on in his game. Have a listen to this.
Yes, Ferguson is a special striker. I'm working and my staff too. We are working to improve him, to become not only number 9, not only striker, but to improve him in terms of understanding the play, to receive the ball or to attack the space, and not only one thing, to complete the player, to complete the guy. He's very good guy, and I think if you work with a clever guy is nice, because he understands immediately and he improves day by day.
Now, I imagine this is just De Zerbi trying to temper expectations there, or push him on in his development even further, which is what good managers tend to do with prodigious young talents. But either way, I took a closer look at his numbers, found there was evidence he could be this all-round tour de force player, albeit in a very limited amount of minutes. And we have to be careful here that we don't hype him up too much, that we don't put him on a pedestal at this early stage of his career. But it is very hard not to get excited about him, isn't it? Now, we know that being a goal threat comes naturally to him. I mean, he's getting off around 3.3 shots per 90 in the Premier League this season, which is a very similar amount to Marcus Rashford. He's very economic with these chances too, which is something that I found really surprising. So he's putting over 50% of them on target, which is not something you associate with young strikers who are maybe keen to show their worth, who are a little bit fazed by the occasion. But he's got that sang-froid, that coolness in front of goal, hasn't he? Which is really very bloody hard to teach, I'd imagine. Like the 1.75 shots he puts on target per 90 actually puts him in the top 2% of forwards in Europe's top 5 leagues. So, like I said, vanishingly rare to be that economic, that young. Also pretty secure in possession, 81% pass accuracy. Again, pretty unusual for his age. Not that adventurous with his passing, but maybe he's just sticking to his strengths at the moment, playing very simple passes and then just getting into the box, very diligent with his defensive work, making around 1.5 tackles and interceptions per 90, puts him, I think that's more than 81% of his peers, let's say, making a bunch of blocks as well. And I think this shows that he's relishing the physical side that De Zerbi is sort of demanding of his players. I had a look at Brighton's press and how that's shaping up match week 28, and they have the 4th most intense, let's say, press in the league at current. They're allowing just over 9 passes before they make a defensive action. So pretty impressive. It looks like he's very keen to be part of that. That all being said, if your friends at home or, any Twitter accounts that you follow are using his 2 league assists as evidence that he's equal parts finisher and creator, they're probably a little bit off the pace, aren't they, Dukes?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's been... They're slightly flattering in terms of his assists, really. His goals sort of align to his underlying numbers. He's at 3 goals to 2.3 XG, but his expected assists only stands at 0.3 this season, and he has 2 to his name. So he has been a little bit fortuitous, and yeah, it feels like some of his other teammates, their elite finishing, particularly in the last few months, like Solly March has hit a great run of form. Matoma's finishing's excellent as well. Maybe he's profited off that, let's say. He's also in the bottom 10% of players in his position for shot creating actions, but these are things that can come. I think you want to see, when a young striker breaks through, their calmness in front of goal, as Chris says, that ice in his veins, and he's just got it in abundance at the moment. Ultimately, it feels like Brighton, after years of struggling for goals under Potter, have now got quite a few options in front, and I think De Zerbi deserves a lot of credit for bringing out the best of Lewis Dunk, the best in Evan Ferguson. Matoma's just hit new levels, of course, but Chris, it feels like Evan Ferguson, there's now going to be a lot expected on him, at an international level as well, of course.
Yeah, just been called up to the squad to face, I think it was Latvia and France in the Euro 2024 qualifiers. So if he slaps on that stage as well, not only are we looking at someone with a high ceiling and there's sort of mental anticipation around him, he might be commanding a mental fee as well. And we know that Brighton are very, very adept at driving up the price, and I can see the headlines right now of 50 to 60 come the summer. And of course, Brighton play Manchester United now in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. And it has been, by and large, the Manchester United fan base who have been pining for Evan Ferguson.
Ooh.
Obviously, a lot of comparisons made with Wayne Rooney, who could have played for Ireland as well, may I add. Dukes, we've seen Chelsea pursue young talent that they rate to a relentless degree. Should Manchester United be doing the same here, particularly given the hole at number 9? Or is it that too much too soon for Evan Ferguson?
He's the sort of player that I can imagine Sir Alex Ferguson absolutely going all guns blazing for. But I just feel like at the moment, I'm kind of loath to put too much pressure on him and be like, he's the perfect fit for Man United.
Yeah.
I think there are better options, or more experienced options on the market, that we have a bigger base to go off. I think everyone wants Victor Osimhen this summer, and that makes a lot of sense. But we're looking at 120 million euros probably to get Victor Osimhen. I think he's got a few years left on his contract. Napoli have a chance of a league and maybe even a Champions League double. They're the favourites to get to the final from that side of the draw, of course. So Evan Ferguson, for now, I just want him to continue enjoying his football and continue to learn and develop, because it's a really exciting prospect that Brighton fans must just be delighted that he's at the Amex.
Yeah, the strange thing is he would get minutes at Manchester United right now. It's not like he'd be riding the bench the whole of next season. Maybe it is now is a decent time to come in with Marcus Rashford in such fine fettle, so the pressure won't be as exaggerated as previous campaigns. And maybe if Manchester United did go for Evan Ferguson and he didn't cost any more than 30, 40, and it meant that they could spend a little bit more reinforcing that midfield or addressing some of the depth at centre back, right back, then it might not be the worst shout. I mean, Chelsea have rolled the dice on several young guys, and Manchester City's academy is stacked. Arsenal have reduced the average age of their squad significantly, like it's really, really young. Manchester United need to take some educated gambles to maintain pace and sort of future-proof their squad as well. So
someone likes this.
I quite like it, and I'm only coming to that realisation right now, sat in this.
No, I like it.
I don't know. I can just see him. I can see him embracing that responsibility. And rumour has it, my source being Joseph Tomlinson, is a Manchester United fan.
Okay.
So that might play a part.
A lot of Irish people growing up are. I think the one thing I want to see a little bit more of is, what's his pressing like? What's his hold-up play like? I just need to see a little bit more before I put, you know, the name Man United in his sort of
And I've watched some Premier League 2 football of him where he does, at that level, look like Harry Kane. He is like raking cross-field passes, bringing others into play, very different at Premier League level. And of course, we've only got 500 minutes to go at this point, and it is a little bit mad to get ahead of ourselves, but that's why we love the game.
It's a Monday. Let's do it.
That's why we love the game. What do you lot at home think? Should Manchester United opt for Evan Ferguson? I've just realised I wanted to, before we wrapped up proceedings, shout out a couple of other young stars who starred across the weekend. Ellis Sims getting his first goal for Everton in that 2-2 draw with Chelsea. Means his side are now 2 points clear of relegation for the time being, so a huge goal in terms of the complexion of their season. Cole Palmer scored his first goal of the season, I believe, for Manchester City, which was largely overshadowed by another Haaland monster class against Burnley. Not a striker, but Man City loney Tommy Doyle scored the winner against really nice goal against Blackburn in the FA Cup. And Cameron Archer, who we've got a bit of a vested interest in because we might be interviewing him soon on Football Daily, got another 2 goals and assists against Preston in the Championship, which means the Aston Villa loney now has 9 goal contributions in his first 10 starts for Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough. So a good time for, I'm looking at this, young English talent as well.
Absolutely. I'm really pleased for Ellis Sims as well. I mean, Everton did slightly ruin Sunderland's season because he was one of our 2 strikers and the other one did his Achilles. So we don't have a striker at the moment except for Joel Gelhardt. Anyway, Ellis Sims went back to Everton. He was with us on loan at Sunderland. He played in that 2-0 loss at Anfield and was quite disappointing on the night. I felt quite sorry for him. I think he was really isolated. So to burn past Kalidou Koulibaly, who I know is not having a great season by any standards at all, but to show that pace and that calmness in front of goal, popping up with a huge goal in the last few minutes, I was really, really pleased for him.
Stinking from Kepa, I think, personally.
And on the topic of young strikers as well, Alexander Isak on Friday night against Nottingham Forest. What a player Newcastle have on their hands. It really pains me to say it as a Sunderland fan, but he's looked excellent in the limited minutes he's got, and I think he's just building up that fitness to be able to play 90 minutes. And at a time when Callum Wilson's form has slightly dipped, Alexander Isak's rocketing.
Yeah, absolutely. A great time to be a young striker in the top tiers of English football right now. But who have you got your eye on? Let me know in the comments below. And also, like I said, let us know if you think Evan Ferguson is a viable option for Manchester United next season, because that's what all the media publications are saying. Like this video, subscribe to the channel with notifications on, and we'll catch you next week on Winners and Losers. Bye.